Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, as we all know, as we all have witnessed, is going through his own little saga right now. He's going through his little saga with the whole massage parlor therapist thing. I don't know what to call it. But it's a civil, he's got a litany of civil cases against him. And, you know, it's really been a true just tsunami of bad news, bad public perception of him now. And he's in a bitter dispute with the Houston Texans. He's trying to get the hell out of Houston. I think that before all this stuff went down, I think that really Deshaun coming out of last season was easily the kind of player that was going to force a couple of first-round picks to get him in a trade once it was known that he wanted to leave. A couple first-round picks, maybe a player as well. A couple first-round picks, maybe a mid-rounder or a couple mid-rounders as well. But he was a hot commodity. It was going to be a high price to get Deshaun Watson out of Houston. Now, the way I look at it, I mean, I don't think there's any other way that this ends, because there is such bad blood between him and the Houston Texans. And now, on top of that, there is this image problem that he has in the NFL as a player because of the off the field stuff that's, you know, really that's a bad look for him. It's a really bad look. Nobody is denying that in any way. I think it's a bad look. But Deshaun Watson actually came out and he had something to say. Well, he didn't say it, but it is being reported that Deshaun Watson wants to be a Denver Bronco. Now, I know That's Good Sports is hyped about that. Now he's got two top-tier elite quarterbacks who it looks like Denver would be the appropriate landing place for. And honestly, I think Deshaun Watson in Denver would make them a legitimate playoff contender instantly. I think they've got a young squad. I think they've got a solid players. But I also think that they're missing the biggest piece, and I think everybody knows they're missing the biggest piece that's needed for that franchise to move forward, and that's a quarterback that they can rely on. Now, they're going to need a little bit of help on defense, but as a team, if they have a guy like Deshaun Watson or even, you know, potentially Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, I think that changes the entire momentum of the franchise. I think it changes their offense, you know, instantly. They become a much more threatening offense. Is it worth the money? Yeah, I think it's worth the money. I think if Denver is not 100%, if they are not 100% certain that they have the quarterbacks right now that will lead them into the future, then they need to make a move. They need to start making trades, restructuring contracts, or they need to start putting up draft picks. I mean, Deshaun Watson, he's not old. He is literally he is in the first few years of his prime. He has literally got a decade of prime football, barring injury, barring some sudden drop off. He has got a decade left of damn good prime level football. And if you watch the kid last year, man, he was playing on a terrible team and he was damn near pulling off a win every week. It was him. He still was the third. I think he had the highest QBR at the end of the season in the NFL. Highest completion percentage. I think he had, you know, those two stats. Correct me if I'm wrong. I may be wrong on that, but it's been like, what, 5 hours since this tweet went out? I mean, if I'm the GM or the guy who's making the calls in Denver, in the last 5 hours, I already convinced the owner that we giving up the next 2 years first round picks. We'll pay his contract. We don't give a fuck. We're going to pay the contract. We're going to give up the picks. Call Deshaun. Let's get on the phone with him right now. Let's figure this out. And I'm trying to get him by the weekend. By the weekend. I literally would be like, yo, what do y'all want for this cat? We're thinking, you got it. What do you want? 3 first-round picks? You got it. You got it. Why? What's the risk? What is the risk? There is no risk. The lawsuits he's dealing with right now, those are civil lawsuits. It's not a criminal thing. That's off the field. I think in this case, yes, you understand he's dealing with some shit, but also that didn't make him a worse football player. That doesn't make him less athletic. That doesn't make his arm any less strong. Denver absolutely could use that right now. I think that is a move that, I mean, it should go without saying. Look, Aaron Rodgers is a different situation for these cats. For people on the other side, in the executive level of these football teams, we have seen over the past few years that players have been able to kind of start bending the path of, or the decisions of, football teams to their will. Players with enough clout, with enough power, with enough leverage, players who got enough money in their contracts have been able, and players who actually will cost a lot to get rid of in a negative way, where you can't replace them with other players at all because of the penalty that you take on the cap. So players have started to be aware, more self-aware, in the fact that they can actually call the shots if they want to go to that extreme. Now, there is a big cost at doing that. There's a big cost of doing that. The relationship with the franchise, the relationship with your, I wouldn't say so much the relationship with your teammates, but if it gets to a certain point where it's literally something that is a monumental distraction for the weekly preparation of teams, then the relationship with the players can become, it can become volatile. But if this team gives into him, well, these guys have huge egos too. These executives have huge egos. These owners have huge egos. And they would never, or they in most cases would never want to allow themselves to be at the mercy of the player. They will not trade Aaron Rodgers. It won't happen because they don't want to look like he defeated them. Deshaun Watson, I honestly think that's the route to go for Denver. I think that they should be working on that. I mean, I would be if I was them.